Okay, now let me scoot over. The lighting is all weird and stuff. Oh God, my hair is such a mess. Didn't straighten up from after the cold. No, I need to go more. No, more this way. There we go. It's all opposite. It's opposite day. Whew. Busy day. Had a ballot access committee meeting. And I'm using my other camera. That's what the problem is. Well, I'm not going to bother to switch cameras. I usually use my phone, which has a much better picture. I was like, why is the picture so strange? But this isn't going to be a long show. I didn't schedule it. My purple bra strap is showing. It's bothering me. Anyway, I didn't schedule this much ahead of time because, as you guys know, I'm using the Ecamm app, and there was just a bunch of improvements where I don't have to go through a third-party multi-streamer, and I had to set it all up a little while ago, and it looks like it's working. I would love to see some comments just to make sure commenting is working. You can see that it lets me now comment in app, but it propagates to all of the stations, if that's the way to put it. So I'm seeing my own comment 3 times because it's showing me where it commented on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, but not my regular Facebook. Interesting. Post to 3 destinations. I'm not so sure this is streaming on my main Facebook account. Well, I guess I will be able to test this out as things keep happening. It is posting on my secretary page, however. All right, I'm going to do the YouTube stuff. We're not going to have terribly, again, long of a show, and I'm not even sure this is streaming out because I see viewers, but I don't see any comments. If you're commenting on my main Facebook page, I'm not seeing that. So maybe go to YouTube or my secretary page or Twitch. So I will just keep on blabbing and we will see what happens. That almost rhymed. But as usual, if you enjoy this type of content, please hit subscribe and like. It really, really helps. Also, as I always say, follow me on Twitter, Karen Ann Harlos. I've been really going after David Hogg today, and I got to show you, if I can, a funny tweet. This was a good tweet. You know, you never really know what tweet's going to take off. Here's the one that took off. I want to pull it up and show you guys. So give me 1 second. I always get confused as to how do you get to your own profile. There it is. Oh, and I see I am streaming on Twitter. Oh, I just tweeted a lot today. I'm like, why can't I find this? And it's because I tweet way too much. So I'm going to share my screen here a second because here we go. This is my most popular tweet in a while. So let me hide that right there. And let me hide this. So I said, yeah, this guy made fun of my hair. I've made it. The Tiger King made fun of my hair. But yeah, no, this one has been my most popular one today. It got 231 likes. That's pretty good. A bunch of comments. So yeah. And someone bookmarked it. Oh my goodness. Anyway, thought I'd show you that. But let's get on to the history stuff. Let me stick the chat widget back up just in case. It's making me think chat's not working. Maybe somebody can send me a text or a Facebook message. I'll get it on my phone to say, hey, we're commenting, but you're not seeing it. So that I can try to figure this out. But I've got some historical stuff to show you before we get into the actual LP News issue. Got some buttons that I just got in that I didn't have or the party didn't have in its collection. This one seems fairly rare. Maybe not. We didn't have it. And it's an Andre Maru for VP. right there. Nice. And then we had Libertarian, the party of principle. And last but not least, button that says voting. I'm trying to get it. Yeah, there we go. Voting Libertarian means never having to say you're sorry. Unless it's Bill Weld. Then you definitely do have to say you're sorry. Alrighty. On to the episode. Okay. So Richard Brown just sent me a message. He says, I see you on Facebook and Twitch, but not on YouTube. Interesting. Because I am seeing myself. See, that's YouTube. So I'm doing a little bit of testing because this is the first time I've used this program. So let me go to my account and see if, I don't want to do that. I didn't want to do that. Okay. So I went to YouTube Studio. And we'll look at content and live. He is correct. It is not broadcasting. I wonder if this is broadcasting on... I have a couple YouTube channels. One of them is just Karen Ann Harlow's. I don't use it for anything. I don't even think there's any videos on it that are public. I use it for like teller training and things like that. So switch account. Let's go to Karen Ann Harlow's. That's where it's streaming. It's streaming on the wrong YouTube app. Well, that'll be okay. We will fix that for next time. I will upload this to my YouTube channel, but that makes sense. Thank you very much. Richard, can you let me know, Richard, since you are now my troubleshooter, are you seeing this on Facebook on my main profile or on my secretary profile? And can you try commenting? Because I am not seeing any comments. You know what? I'm going to go. Whoops. I'm going to try commenting on this one YouTube channel and see. So test comment and see if that comes up on my screen here. Okay, so JJ, are you seeing this? And there's my test comment. It was just a little bit of a lag. JJ, are you seeing this on my main profile or my secretary profile? I figured out what's going on wrong with YouTube, and I will fix that for next stream. But I'll wait for you to let me know that. Oh, I see why it's not coming up on my screen, because that's the Restream chat box. And I'm not using Restream anymore. I'm going to have to find a chat box to put up on the screen. Oh, so JJ, is it on my regular Facebook profile? That's the question. I have a feeling I can only do it to one or the other. And if so, I'll just start streaming to my main profile. This is all just a test. This is the first day I started. I really don't like this webcam. It is not as clear as my regular one. And I'm just seeing what we have left here. I'm not going to stream much tonight because I've got some other things to do. And now that I know that there's a little bit of streaming problems, we are going to make this short. So we're not doing this long-ass article tonight. Not today, Satan. We are not doing that. So let's just find... Let's do this thing. Let's do, because I think this is interesting. This raises its ugly head every so often. The thing called the fairness doctrine. You might not know what that was. And it was, I'm going to see if I can describe it adequately. This article, I'm sure, will describe it. From what I understand, it was like during a certain political season, if you gave time to one point of view, you had to give equal time to another point of view. That's at least the way I understood it. Let's see if that understanding is correct. So it says in an article, and it's by Bill Evers, who's a good writer, in an article published in the March 30th, and this would be March 30th, 1975, New York Times Magazine, former CBS News president Fred W. Friendly. What a name, Fred Friendly. Wouldn't it be funny if he was just like a complete asshole, even though his name... So it's not my regular profile, JJ says. Okay, got some troubleshooting to do. Wouldn't it be funny if Fred Friendly was just a real asshole? Details a coordinated secret campaign by the Kennedy and Johnson administrations to suppress anti-communist, fundamentalist Christian radio commentators through the use of a regulatory policy known as the Fairness Doctrine. He was an asshole, JJ says. Irony. And you want to know what I just realized? I can't believe you guys even heard Mike and I in the Cult of RONR show, because our microphone, because we're so used to not broadcasting, it's been months, the microphones weren't even set up. Like, they were off to the side, so it was picking up a little bit, but not really. So the Fairness Doctrine, which has a certain amount of ideological self-advertisement built into its name, is a rule promulgated by the Federal Communications Commission, hiss, boo, the national regulatory agency controlling broadcasting. Under the Fairness Doctrine, stations that occupy and use the airwaves are compelled to present what the government considers to be the relevant viewpoints on what the government considers to be the important issues. Thanks. I hate it. Ugh. Beginning in 1963, during the national debate over the nuclear test ban treaty, the White House, and later also the National Democratic Party, secretly used paid professionals to monitor radio stations that broadcast ultra-conservative commentary. These persons then engaged in a concerted effort to demand that unpaid replies to the ultra-conservative commenters be aired. Not only did the White House successfully intimidate... Does this sound familiar? Where's Talib? This sounds just like the government interfering in social media, just in the 1970s way. Not only did the White House successfully intimidate in this roundabout way stations into running thousands of replies, but the constant harassment of the stations and the expenses to them of running the replies led to hundreds of the stations to drop the ultra-conservative commentators. In part, the White House effort was designed to discourage stations from broadcasting commentary friendly to Barry Goldwater, who was the 1964 Republican Party presidential nominee. Now JJ's having to apologize to probably long deceased Fred Friendly. Maybe he wasn't an asshole. The jury's still out on that one. An important spin-off from this White House effort at censorship and intimidation was the so-called Red Lion decision, in which the U.S. Supreme Court approved what Friendly calls the power of the government to intervene directly in the content of broadcasting. Ugh. The Red Lion case, named after the broadcasting company involved, arose from a demand by Fred J. Cook to reply to a criticism of him by the Reverend Billy James Hargis of the Christian Crusade. Cook, in the words of a March 31st follow-up story in the Times, was, at the time, a participant in the White House efforts to suppress the voices of the right on radio. The more things change, the more things stay the same. Wow. The Supreme Court decided in the action initiated by Cook that the government had the right to intervene. I'm getting mad now. I'm getting mad. It's time for some rum. Directly into radio broadcasting. Thus, The Supreme Court ruling denied broadcasters their First Amendment rights of freedom of speech and of the press. Friendly pinpoints the political importance of this new knowledge about the origin and uses of the current fairness doctrine policy. The story of the fairness doctrine effort during the 1964 campaign illuminates the subtle and fascinating interplay of power politics and regulatory policy. You want to know what the name of this, though, reminds me of, because it sounds so benign? The fairness doctrine. How can you be against fairness, you terrible Nazi? It reminds me of just all of the really loaded terminology. Of course, it was over the top, but, used to illustrate a point in Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged. Remember the anti-dog-eat-dog doctrine or whatever it was that said you could only have so many train cars. That's, I'm expecting to see Toohey, on the scene at any moment now, reading with these just like completely Orwellian lines. The Ministry of Love. Okay. In the Red Lion case, for example, many of the agency bureaucrats, government lawyers, and judges tended to dismiss the broadcaster's claim that freedom of expression might be chilled by court decisions extending federal regulatory control over the content of radio and television programs, little realizing that at the time they were granting implicit legal sanction to an unsavory project of political censorship by the Democrats. Say it isn't so. The Democrats, well, the Republicans would do it too, but right now we're talking about the Democrats. The Democrats would never use the power of the regulatory state in order to decide what people could say in the public square. That would never happen. Yeah. Let me shovel this out of here. The power to control broadcasting was the cudgel. So what the Democrats put in place, the Republicans that picked up what they laid down and ran with it even worse. And that's the way it always happens. Or vice versa. But you don't grant power to yourself that you don't want when you're not in control to be given to your opponents. Or as I said at the Colorado convention, where some people were like, whoa, you seem pretty paranoid in these bylaws you're writing. And I said, bylaws are not for good boards. They're for bad boards. So don't think, oh, we like the board we have now. We don't need these strict bylaws. Yeah, you do. Because it's not always going to be a board you like. Unfortunately, let's continue. The power to control broadcasting was the cudgel that Nixon administration spokesmen were able to wield quite effectively prior to the Watergate scandal and efforts to intimidate and manipulate the media. Unfortunately, Friendly, a longtime ideological proponent of regulation, can only see in the Red Lion case an exception in which men and priorities went wrong. I know it's people who are watching my other channel, which never has content on it. It's going to be like all of a sudden there's this like fully formed show going on. And then I'm going to get a bunch of subscribers on that channel. If you're watching the channel that's called Karen Ann Harlos, don't subscribe to that one. I usually just have private videos on there that are training videos for LP stuff. Go over to Pink Flame of Liberty, where I'm going to be uploading this after. But the real lesson of this and other government regulation scandals, like the milk price support bribery, is clear enough that libertarians should have little trouble conveying it to the public at large. Such scandals are bound to continue unless we get the government out. And they did. Fast forward almost 50 years, and you got the COVID bullshit. The broadcasting frequencies should become private property. Man, that is an LP, big L libertarian position I haven't heard in a long time. Because radio's kind of like old school right now, but privatize the airwaves used to be a huge LP talking point. justly, honestly, and absolutely held. In general, those presently occupying the various frequencies are the just owners in terms of their homesteading by way of regular broadcast use. Libertarians should argue for securing them in their entitlement to the frequencies. This is an old school LP argument. Some present license holders, well, when are we, and before long we were arguing about Lagrange points. Anyway, some present license holders may have usurped the rights of previous occupiers via political intrigue. If this can be established, libertarians should press, at least for the minimal justice of depriving these thieves of their plunder. With private ownership, broadcasters could join with newspapers in standing behind the First Amendment and defending the media against governmental intrusion. As things are now, government supervision is the sword of Damocles, constantly suspended over the head of broadcasters. The inevitable result is the censorship of the sort practiced by the Kennedy, Johnson, and Nixon administrations. And that is all we're going to do today, because this was just a test of the Emergency Broadcast Network. Yeah, I'll try to fix these locations so that next time I'm broadcasting to the right YouTube channel. So that's going to be it for today. Short show, but at least I got one in. And now, disgustingly enough, pukingly enough, I've got to go do my taxes. Oh, God, that's so gross. All right. Have a good night, everyone. I'm not.
What you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in the business, not because they want to